Rob is going to talk about optimizing AI, harnessing potential while mitigating risks. So without further ado, I would like to welcome on the stage Rob van der Veer.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Everybody re-energized after the break? Got your sugar levels up, right? Good. You're going to need the energy because we're going to talk about our future with AI. And it's, spoiler, not just fairy tales. The future is owned by those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. This must sound familiar because it is imprinted on this very building that we are in today, the Museum of the Future. And I think it's very appropriate to our future with AI. With technology comes new risks, sometimes risks that we don't expect. Think of the internet, right? We thought we're going to connect the whole world so everybody can share the information and we can all agree on it because there will be clarity and there will be mutual understanding about everything. That didn't work out, right? It connected us, the internet connected us, brought us together in a way, but also more apart because it introduced information bubbles. It introduced anxiety, information overload, addiction, bullying. So with this new technology we were very optimistic about, some of that optimism disappeared because of risks that we did not expect. And the same happens with AI and is going to happen with AI. Let me give you an example. I started in the AI industry back in the beginning of the 90s as an entrepreneur, as a data scientist, and we built AI products. And we built a system for the Dutch police to predict criminal careers. So we built a system that for individuals, we could sort of predict how they would evolve their criminal careers so we could give them the right guidance. And it seemed like a great idea at the time. Everybody was in it. The privacy officers of our client, ethics experts, legal counsels. Everybody thought this is for the good of everybody, for the good of society. Fast forward to 2025. This is now prohibited. In the EU, there is the consensus that police data contains systemic bias. Racism, gender bias, age bias, because it represents behavior of human beings. And if you use that to train AI, you will amplify the bias in that behavior, and it's no way to treat people by being prejudiced. So what we thought was a good idea back then, later turned out to be a bad idea. And we need to be careful with new technology. We need to be careful with new applications, and we need to know what we're getting into. And I'm going to talk about what we're getting into with you today. And optimism, I think I'm in favor of it. Let's go for it. Let's try all kinds of things with AI because it's like the revolution with electricity. It increases our efficiency. We can think of whole new products. We solve world problems. Let's apply this point of view. But with these headlines, I might as well have chosen this background, the burning earth. So I don't want to be over dramatic, but I think that the AI initiatives that sometimes apply this point of view will be the most successful. Not all the time, I do not recommend that, but this is your main point of view. Let's go for it. And if you walk around on the exhibition in the Dubai AI Week, and if you watch the talks, there's a lot of enthusiasm what you can achieve with AI. And I'm all in favor, but occasionally think about what can go wrong. So I want to take you through some of the potentials of AI and some of the risks to take into account. And made a list. And actually, the risks I have been personally involved in throughout my career, so I know what I'm talking about. When we talk about workflows, making them more efficient, trying to automate part of our work, it's not a guarantee that we can automate everything. We need to try things, right? I think the best strategy is to give everybody access, with guardrails, of course, to AI in an organization and let them try if their workflow can be improved using AI. But sometimes they realize, the AI keeps making mistakes because that is not going away. Maybe you believe it is going away, but we're talking about machine learning, and machine learning is guessing, and guessing means that you can't always be right. So larger models are not going to be the answer. Agentic AI is not going to be the answer. We need an entirely new revolution for AI to be more correct than it is, substantially more correct than it is today. Until then, we need meaningful review. And sometimes, when you apply meaningful review, it takes away most of the advantage that AI is doing in a workflow. But it depends. You can gain sometimes 5 times more efficiency, and sometimes hardly any. So this is a matter of experimenting. Talking about unlocking knowledge in data and documents. I work for a software improvement group. We do a lot of software assessments. We create a lot of reports, wrote down a lot of instructions and training material for our consultants. And we now have unlocked that with AI. So you can ask AI a question like it's a very experienced colleague who was involved in all projects. Really powerful and really easy to do. So that's a great benefit. Also, increased client value. For example, take the example of Duolingo. You're familiar with Duolingo, right? It's learning a language. They used to use pre-scripted ways to learn a new language, but now they, using AI, have a much more personalized approach, where people just get more value and get a better experience when learning a new language. Better decision making, I use it myself. I do a lot of, sparring, reflecting with AI, and it helps me understand things better and make better decisions by augmenting me. So not taking me over, but helping me out. More employee satisfaction. If you can let AI do your tedious work, you'll be more happy. New products and services. For example, Klarna, which is a well-known company providing financial services. If you buy now and pay later, they implemented a chatbot to help their clients. And it turned out to be really good. So now it's a new product for them. So for organizations trying to do new things with AI, they sometimes uncover new ways and new products to help them. Shopify is another example, sort of a web commerce platform embracing AI and really extending it to something that replaces a lot of the processes at their clients, including customer contact. And these 2 quotes are from an internal memo of Shopify. You may have seen them. They're quite extreme, but I think they are inspiring. What they say is that using AI effectively is a fundamental expectation of everyone. So everyone should know how to use AI in the organization. And if you want more people in your department, you need to first prove that you can't make it happen with AI. Quite strong, but I think inspiring policies of this company. So, a lot of potential. But let's talk about the risks. Is AI evil? Is AI going to destroy us? I don't think so. There's no real evidence for it. I think a much higher probability is that we want to harm each other by hacking AI. So AI security, which happens to be my pet topic, I specialize in AI security. As you heard in my introduction, I'm co-editor of the EU AI Act security standard. I'm involved in ISO standardization for security. I founded the AI Exchange, which basically is a global community of people working on AI security. Where does my motivation come from? It is my belief that, first of all, we connect AI to everything. Don't really know really well how to secure it. I mean, there are some experts, but not every software team knows how to secure AI systems. And AI systems have a very large attack surface. There's the development environment, there's the supply chain, there's the input of the model, and these 3 things create a perfect storm that makes AI systems actually the primary target of adversaries. So often the impact is really high, so the probability is low, the likelihood is low, but if things go wrong, things can go really, really wrong, hence the burning earth. Harm to individuals. This is what the European AI Act is about. It's trying to take care of the safety, health, and fundamental rights of individuals affected by AI systems. So we're talking about bias, transparency, fair treatment, but also the purpose and the danger of AI hurting people, like, for example, in self-driving cars or medical devices. That's always something important to take into account, and that's where we talk about ethical AI or responsible AI. Sustainability. Let's not forget that AI training and AI inference costs a lot of electricity. It is not reflected in the current price, but at some point that price needs to reflect what it's actually costing in energy and in water. Some organizations think that's not my problem. Other organizations think this is what we really should take into account and minimize our use of AI. It's always will be a balance and a matter of values. Other business risks. So I'm going to touch upon a couple of them in the next slides. What I want to highlight now is under-reliance. This is also a risk. I know organizations that are barely using AI. They try to get things started, and it's hard to get started. And I have a couple of suggestions for you how to get started as an organization. But if you haven't started, you're missing out. You're probably getting passed by. There are exceptions, but in most cases, not using AI is one of the big risks that organizations face. Not using AI and not allowing people to explore it and to find out great use cases. Over-relying is the other side of the spectrum, where people really believe AI too much. They take the output for true, they believe it can do everything, let's put all resumes in it, and it will from now on select all people that we should invite for interviews. Don't do that, by the way. Over-relying on AI can create big mistakes. So I want to highlight a couple of things. I want to first highlight that compliance can be your driver to control AI, but it should not limit your scope. I have a picture here where I've highlighted AI Act compliance, but it only takes care of part of your risks. Take, for example, risk B, which is there in the risk for the company. The risk says wrong AI use causes bad company decision. If you make a grave mistake because you use AI in the wrong way, the AI Act is not going to help you. It's not going to prevent that. If, let's take a look at example C, if you create a chatbot as a company, and the chatbot recommends something dangerous to your clients, it can lead to a lawsuit. It can be sort of a business problem and a problem for individuals. But the AI Act doesn't cover it. It says if you have a chatbot, you should just be transparent about it. Good luck. It doesn't cover this particular risk. And also, D is about you create an AI product, for example, a deepfake tool, and people abuse it to attack other people. That is not covered by the AI Act, but it is something that you need to think about as a company. Okay, so this will probably not lead to any lawsuits, but is it something that we want? When we look at our values, when we look at our ethics, is this something that we want? So again, use compliance as a driver. It's really important. You need to have that covered, but don't let it limit your scope. That's compliance issues. Next, one of my favorite topics, a scary one, I think, skills atrophy, which means that if you have muscle atrophy, you get that from not moving your muscles. If you have to lay in bed for a long time, you get muscle atrophy. If you don't practice a specific skill, like programming or reading a scientific paper, you will lose that skill. So if you always ask AI to summarize scientific papers for you, you will lose the skill to scrutinize somebody's work and get into the mind of the scientist. This is a problem for learning a skill and a problem for maintaining a skill. And it means that if programmers are constantly letting AI create the code and are just trying to review it and then fix it, they face the problem that at some point they will no longer be able to review the code because they've actually lost the feeling, the actual skill for coding, and they're going to need it for a long time to come. Coding is not going away. So that's skills atrophy. Insufficient expertise, right? The fastest things on Earth. A cheetah, no, not an airplane, not even light. It's people becoming experts in AI. That's the fastest thing. And of course, it's impossible. We cannot be expected to be AI experts overnight. And we can't even keep up. And I think the key to this is to accept that we, in many cases, don't know and need to find out. And this means that AI ignorance should be okay. What I mean with that is, of course, we need to learn more about AI, but also we need to make it acceptable and embrace that people in the organization say, I don't know. I'm a security professional, for example, and if somebody asks me, can we do this? If I'm in doubt, I should admit it, and the organization should feel that is okay. We're going to find out, because otherwise we'll be running everywhere and we'll be misinformed. This is the result of research that we did at Software Improvement Group. We measure software quality. What you see here is the result of measuring thousands of software systems through the years. The higher the software system on the chart, the higher the quality. So at the top, 5-star system, 5% of the industry. The bottom, 1-star systems. Really hard to maintain, spaghetti code, right? Bad architecture. Now, the blue ones are the actual AI and big data systems. And it's clear that the AI systems are much lower in quality than what you see in the rest of the industry. And not just maintainability-wise, but also there's hardly any test code. There's a lot of security issues we've noticed. Very little documentation. Privacy issues. A lot of software engineering best practices are missing. I'm not saying that AI engineers and data scientists are unprofessional. They're great at creating models that work. That's their incentive. That's how they've been trained. But typically, they have not been trained in creating future-proof software. But now we're in an age where we want to run AI systems in production, not just experiment. We don't want to just create proof of concept. We need to put those things out there because they provide business value. And that's where we run into trouble. So the challenge here is to teach AI engineers how to apply those software engineering best practices. One good way to do this is to use the ISO 5338. I was involved in creating it. It's been out for a year right now. And that standard helps you to extend standard system life cycles with AI-specific development and make this happen. Move those blue balls up. This is about me. What should you know? Not much. We're going to cover most of it in the talk. What we won't cover in the talk is that I wrote a little children's book for ages 4 to 8 about AI, Luna and the Magic AI Paintbrush, a way for me to sort of also share what I've learned in 3 decades of AI with young children. So what can you do about this? I have 3 steps for you. First of all, you need to take responsibility for AI. It's important to apply what we call AI management. And I believe that ISO 42001 is a great framework for this. It gives you all the processes of making an inventory of what you're doing with AI, what you're planning with AI, and then you can assign responsibilities. And then at some point, you need to check your ideas, of course, against the risk that we covered. Is it legal? Is it ethical? How about transparency? How about bias? Do we have sufficient expertise? But not just the risks, but also the opportunities. Because if there's an initiative in your company, you want to see what's the business value? Is this really adding value, or is this just AI for the AI? How about where we can embed this? Sometimes you see ideas starting to pop up in IT departments. Typically, ideas work the best in the value streams in a company. So it's important to think about where are we going to put this in the organization to further develop it. Are there other activities to share with? And can we standardize? Can we platform this? So AI governance should not just be about saying what can go wrong and saying no to things. It should also be about inspiring, enthusing the organization, bringing people together, facilitating. And these are two different, this is almost a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation where the compliance is more about, and overlooking the policies. You can't do this, you can't do that. But at the same time, you want to be a very inviting governance department. So that's the secret of a successful AI management system. Step number one, take responsibility and gain control. Now, if you build AI systems, you want to treat AI engineering as the engineering of software systems, because that's what you need. Even if you're preparing data, you're writing code. You need versioning, you need rollback, you need continuous delivery, you need testing, all those practices in which data scientists typically are not proficient. There are exceptions, of course. I don't want to offend anybody, but I've been a data scientist and I was just hacking away and copy-pasting code, I admit. Later I learned how to write decent code. So, teach conventional software engineers on what AI is, and also AI security, of course. Teach data scientists about software engineering using 5338. And you want to measure the software quality because you need short feedback cycles and set certain boundaries on the quality levels, depending on how mature the software system is. So if you have a very experimental system, it's okay to do, a little bit of ugly code. But if it's going to go in production and you want to transfer it to other teams, you need to set higher standards. This is a difficult thing to pull off, but it is possible. Of course, you want to include security, add AI assets to your risk analysis, your training, your threat modeling, your static analysis, and your pen testing. And the resource that I want to refer to is the OWASP AI Exchange. As mentioned in my introduction, this is something that I founded. Actually, one of the leaders is in the room today, Aruni Salhotra. We run this initiative. It's an open source initiative, and we basically open sourced the global discussion on AI security. And our work feeds into ISO standards, our work feeds into the European AI Act standard. And the great thing is, by doing so, we allow these working groups to have access to expertise from OWASP, which is the largest software security organization in the world, almost 10,000 members who are joining in. And that expertise can be used to contribute to those standards. And by doing so, we also make sure that these standards align and are based on the same core framework that we created. And that core framework is about 200 pages of material. So if you have an AI security team, refer them to owaspai.org, because that's where the information is, and it's copyright free. And also, if you don't have an AI security team, make sure that the people building your AI systems are trained in this, and they know the risks of AI and how you can build the controls against it when it comes to the security of them. I want to highlight one security aspect of cloud AI because it touches almost every organization. Most organizations are using cloud AI solutions, and it runs in the cloud, and this is a data flow diagram. Don't want to go in all the details, but what it comes down to, it's a company A, it has their large model in the cloud, and they think they have a private instance, but in most cases, they have a private instance of an endpoint, of an API. In most cases, they have their own API, but in the end, the prompt is traveling unencrypted at some point at the cloud AI. So you need to be really careful with what your cloud vendor describes in the level of security that they can provide and what options you have to configure, for example, to opt out of logging and to opt out of monitoring, to make sure that your prompts, your unencrypted prompts, are not stored, are not watched by any administrators. And also, you need to know that at some point, your unencrypted prompt will be in memory of some process at your cloud vendor. Now, the risk is minimal because they've done everything to secure this as much as possible, but still, if you agreed with your clients that you will not share that data with anybody else outside your organization, you need to look at this. And then perhaps consider running your own model. I wanted to highlight that one for you. Step number 3, really important, apply Murphy's Law. Apply Murphy's Law, which means anything can go wrong. Your model can be wrong because it's a machine learning model. It can already be wrong, but it can be more wrong than you think because it can have been manipulated. It can have been poisoned. There's all kinds of attacks that corrupt the behavior of your model. So you want to have behavioral guardrails in place, human oversights. If you build an electric vehicle and you have a voice control in it, if the vehicle believes that the driver has said, open the trunk, have a rule that says, well, if we're driving, we're not going to open the trunk, even if we believe the driver has said it. So those kind of controls you want to have in place and limit the impact. Also, when it comes to data, the nice thing about AI is that you have something like differential privacy. AI models don't require exact, precise information like normal administrative systems require it. So you can create some deviations, some distortion into information, making it sufficiently unrecognizable, but still let your model perform sufficiently. This is something that you can teach your AI team, and by doing so, you're actually building your system with privacy and security by design. Limit the impact. Together, we get these steps for the board, for governance, risk, and compliance, your CTO, your CIO, and your CISO, and you can read about this in the free booklet I wrote from Software Improvement Group. You can download it using this QR code, and it helps organizations going through 19 steps of becoming AI ready. I want to give you the highlights of today and then wrap up. Optimizing AI, how do you do it? First of all, you want to let everybody experiment and play with AI because that's how you get the best ideas, by letting workers, by giving workers access to AI and finding the best ways to solve things, of course, with the right instructions, with the right training, and with the right guardrails. You want to let workers keep practicing key skills. This is about the atrophy. So programmers want to go for productivity. And if they have AI, it's asked of them, please be more productive. And that creates a pressure. But they also need to be incentivized to frequently apply their skills because they need to maintain those. Very important point. Embrace AI ignorance in your organizations. It's okay to don't know. Set up AI management. Treat AI as software development. Include security. By the way, tomorrow afternoon I will be running in this room a panel on AI security with 4 distinguished panel members. And you want to limit impact because apply Murphy's Law. So again, sometimes think about things that can go wrong. It's no fun, but it will really make you more successful. This is my final slide with a link to my homepage where you'll find all the information, including the readiness guide, including the slides of this session. It's already downloadable. I'd like to thank you for your time and good luck. We're going to need it.